Hello, 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 and welcome to our first Cat Chat of 2023. We did it. We made it. We're live at Ribbon Chop House. I'm Keaton Galogly, joined by head coach Danny Sprinkle. Coach, how we doing?
Doing great. Happy New Year to all you Cat fans. Appreciate you guys coming out.
Yeah, absolutely. Braving the cold, although
Yeah.
I guess if you didn't do anything when it was cold out, you'd just never do anything out here, right?
Well, yeah, there's not much to do the last couple weeks then.
Yeah. All right, we got a great show lined up for you as we kind of start the new year and the new session of Cat Chat as we really get to turn our focus and attention to basketball now. So, of course, we're going to talk with Danny Sprinkle. A little later, we'll talk with the women's head coach, Tricia Binford, who just reached a new milestone this week, reaching 300 career wins. Very, very impressive to get to that. So excited to talk to her about that. And we're going to talk to two players today. We got a couple of point guards, our point guard show today.
There
we
you
got
go.
Darius Brown and Darian White joining the show today. So nice to get in and talk to some of the point guards
Yeah, you
today.
got two good ones.
No doubt. All right, Coach. Well, let's dive right into things. Obviously, we're through the non-conference. We're through a couple of Big Sky games. And I want to pick up first and just kind of get some background for maybe people who weren't totally paying attention since we weren't home a lot there in November and December, getting through that non-conference schedule. That was a gauntlet you all played, getting through all those teams. What was it like from your perspective playing some of these big-time opponents in the non-conference?
Yeah, we had to be road warriors. It's hard to get people to come up to Bozeman, especially with some of the guys that we had coming back. People kind of knew we had a solid team coming back, and so it was really hard to get people to come to Bozeman, and we had to go on the road and played two of the best Pac-12 teams, University of Oregon and University of Arizona, and then Grand Canyon, which might be the best atmosphere on the West Coast. And so going up to Montreal, playing three of the toughest mid-major teams in the country and coming back and playing a familiar old Big Sky foe, Southern Utah, and that was an 8-9 day trip. And so
Right.
it was grueling for our guys, but I think it was good. We developed some camaraderie and a lot of stuff off the court too. But it was good for our guys to play a lot of games. I think we played 13 or 14 games and we got better as time went on.
Yeah, well, with some of the question marks coming into the season, is you obviously Jabril Bello back, but still a lot of guys graduated after last year. When during that stretch did you feel like the team was kind of starting to come together a little bit?
Yeah, I thought even though we lost the 3 games in Montreal, we played good. We played 5 out of the 6 halves. We played good, and it came down to the last minute against UNC Greensboro, and it came down to the last second against Middle Tennessee, and we just didn't come out on top. But we could have very easily been 2-1 on that trip. And, I think our guys, they developed confidence. I think we really defensively we took a lot of strides during that tournament, and it parlayed into the win at Southern Utah. Where Raekwon went crazy at the end, and but obviously Darius, who's here, he played tremendous in the first half of that game for us to afford us a win.
Right, for Darius Brown, who we'll talk to a little bit later, at 17 points in that game against Southern Utah, and that Canada trip and the Southern Utah trip were paired together, which was not easy, but it is what it is. It's
it
what
is
you
what it is.
do.
You got to do what you got to do to play the games.
Spending Thanksgiving over north of the border in Canada, too, which was a little different because we're the only ones who's getting ready to celebrate it.
Exactly, but they gave us a good meal up there, and the guys enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was funny, too. So, that Thanksgiving night, it was right before. So we played Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We had Thanksgiving, obviously, Thursday. Yep. We went to, a steakhouse, and they specifically made a Thanksgiving dinner.
They made
for
turkey
everybody.
for us, yep.
Yeah,
with the stuffing.
It was so
everything.
funny, too, because the owner came over and made sure, hey, this is how you cook your turkey, right?
Yep. No, it was good, too. It was good.
Yeah, just what the doctor ordered. So getting through all of that, getting into Big Sky play now, and coming off the 1-1 weekend against Idaho and Eastern Washington, which, again, we'll dive into here in a moment on the other side of a break, which we'll get to momentarily. But I do want to just kind of touch on your point guards, which obviously was a big question mark coming into the year. Darius Brown, Robert Ford. How have those two guys kind of settled in, both transferring in? So they had experience, but not in your system.
Yeah, obviously, Darius first, he's been tremendous, and he's gotten better and better every game that we played this year. His one flaw is he's almost too unselfish at times. And, we had to kind of say, okay, you need to score the basketball too, because he's capable of doing that. And he's obviously really stepped up, and, he played tremendous this weekend. But, he's capable of being an all-conference point guard. He was an all-conference kid at Cal State Northridge in a league very similar to ours. And he missed last year with an injury, and so both of them did. And so getting those guys back into shape and getting their rhythm back and obviously learning a new system, has been trying, but they've just gotten better and better.
No doubt. We'll talk to Darius Brown a little bit later in the show and get some information on what it was like kind of transferring over and battling that injury. All right, we're going to take a break. On the other side of this timeout, we're going to dive into this last weekend against Idaho and Eastern Washington. We're at Montana's Rib and Chop House, where our staff is dedicated to creating extraordinary experiences that raise the bar in each of our communities. Enjoy premium steak, fresh seafood, and award-winning baby back ribs. We look forward to sharing a little Rocky Mountain hospitality with you. All right, we'll take a break on Cat Chat. Back after this. This is Cat Chat from Learfield. Welcome back to the Rib and Chop House. We are on Cat Chat. My name is Keaton Galogly alongside Danny Sprinkle as we're talking some Montana State basketball. All right, Coach, let's dive into this weekend that was. A couple of games to open up Big Sky play. Let's start with this Idaho game. This was a 72-58 win, and this was a game we were all very interested to see. Idaho, a different roster. Isaac Jones, one of the leading scorers in the conference in that front court. It was Jones against Bello in that front court. And Bello certainly won that one-on-one battle in this game.
Yeah, I think Jabril was fired up to play against him. He's a tremendous player. Obviously, he came in averaging almost 20 a game and 8 rebounds. And, Jabril's got a lot of pride. And he made sure he came out and tried to prove a point that game. And not just him, Great Osabar took a lot of pride in it too, and for those guys to combine for, 29 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 blocks, is tremendous for those two. And then not just that, to hold him to, I think he got he had 6 points and 3 rebounds. And so they did a tremendous job, and, he'll be ready when we come to Idaho, and we're going to have to come with the same effort.
And, I think one of the things that stood out in this game about Jabril Bello, you kind of mentioned his pride, just that energy, that motor.
Yeah.
You don't always see it from a big man like that diving around. How does that set the tempo for the rest of the guys when you see your reigning conference MVP laying out on the hardwood for loose balls?
Yeah, and he's got to bring it every game like that now too. And but he had that fire, and he's got a lot of pride. He plays hard. He cares, and it's important to him, and he does what he has to do. Whether he's not a kid that even has to score 10 points. He doesn't care. He just wants to win and kind of do the dirty work.
Great Osabor, as you mentioned in this game, played pretty well. And he's a young player. It's been up and down, but he has some great talent. It's fun to watch him play.
Yep.
Where do you feel like the sophomore Great Osabor is right now in his development with you?
Yeah, he's getting better and better. Obviously, he's playing behind Jabril right now, but he could very easily be a starter on a lot of teams. And the minutes that he gives us are tremendous. And the games where he's playing like he did against Idaho, it brings a whole different dimension to our team because most teams don't have 2 centers like that. So we can get 40 minutes of great play at that position when they're both rolling like that and they're both engaged.
So getting the win on Thursday, moving on to Saturday against Eastern Washington. This ended up being a really close game, 70-67, the loss against the Eagles, who swept through the state of Montana over this road trip, which is not an easy thing to do. And in the end, Steel Venters hit a 3 at the end of that game that kind of separated it, although you still had a shot on that last possession from Robert Ford. But tell us about the last couple of minutes in that game when it was jockeying back and forth.
Yeah, it was disappointing, to lose like that. The last couple minutes, we actually executed pretty well. We just didn't make shots. And, they made the big shots. He made the big 3, but he also hit a huge, step back jumper in front of their bench before that. And so, we did enough to give us a have a chance to tie the game. But, when you start going through every possession, throughout the game, we missed way too many wide open threes. We were 6 of 13 from the free throw line. It seemed like every time they got an offensive rebound, they kicked it out and hit a 3. And, they made some big plays. They banked a 3 in the second half. There was a jump ball off one of their misses that, Jabril and their guy jumped up and just tipped it up in the air and the ball goes in the basket. And so it was one of those nights, but we got to learn from it. And we can't let games come down to things like that. We have to control the stuff we can control. And, we didn't on Saturday.
Now, you still, again, had that chance at the end of the game with some interesting plays to that. How about that baseball pass by Caleb Fuller to get Raekwon Battle out on the left block? Is that how you drew it up?
Yeah. That's one of our plays, and we knew they weren't going to foul, so we needed to get a quick bucket and then foul again. And then we needed, we wanted to make sure we had a chance to get a 3 to tie it. And we ran a play, and we got we had Raekwon right in the corner for an open 3, and, it just didn't fall. Their shot falls, ours didn't. And then even at the end, Robert Ford made a good play and had somewhat of a clean look. Now, it's a hard shot, but it was a clean enough look for that time of the game.
Yeah, and to Ford's credit, what did he do right after that game? He went out on the floor. He took more shots, including that shot from the right wing, over and over again.
Yep.
So
he'll make one by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Yep.
The other interesting kind of little wrinkle at the end of the game was where Darius kind of let that ball bounce to try to save a moment or two to let guys come down. But then the clock had started, and so they had to go back and take a look at things. How did that kind of play out from the officials' standpoint when they were looking at this?
Yeah, it hurt us because it was a good play by Darius because the clock's not supposed to start until somebody touches the basketball. And so we had the jump arrow. So we wanted to come down and try to score, and then we can press them. And if we don't have to foul right away, we can try to get a quick jump ball, and then it's our ball. And so – but it hurt us when they went to the monitor. They had to come and they had to give them the possession arrow after that. They had to change it, but we still got the ball. And so it still gave us a chance. But, it was a savvy play by a veteran point guard.
Right, and so it would have worked had the clock not started, right?
Yeah.
And so because there wasn't the possession by Darius, that's why they had to go to the possession arrow?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And since they stopped it and went and reviewed it, they had to switch the possession arrows, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but – it is what it is. Yeah.
It
makes no sense.
Right. And it wasn't like the rule was misapplied. It's just kind
of
a funky little tiny thing where.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, so looking ahead for Montana State, we're going to talk with Darius Brown here in a moment, but on the road in the Big Sky for the first time coming up against Northern Colorado and Northern Arizona. On the men's side, we got a 6 o'clock tip-off on Thursday and a 2 o'clock tip-off on Sunday. Just quickly give us a little overview of this Northern Colorado team. They were picked second in the preseason poll, but started 0-2 on the road this last week.
Yeah, just like they have been in the past, they have 3 dynamite perimeter players. Connect, Kuntz, who led the league in scoring last year, and Matt Johnson. And they're all 5th and 6th year seniors. And so they're very talented, can really score the basketball, and we're going to have to do a great job defending them like they have been for the last 5, 6, 7 years. They can really score it and light it up from 3. And then NAU is a big physical team, and they're very good at home. And so they obviously got Jalen Cone, who's went for 45 and 39 this year already in 2 of the games. And so, we got our hands full this weekend, and, our guys will be ready.
Here we go, into the Battle of the Big Sky.
Yep.
All right, head coach Danny Sprinkle, appreciate the time today. And on the other side of this break, we'll have Darius Brown joining us. Back after this is Cat Chat from Learfield. We are back at Montana's Ribbon Chop House for Cat Chat. I'm Keaton Galogly alongside Darius Brown as we get set to talk a little more about some MSU basketball. First, I want to remind you that Montana's Ribbon Chop House has been serving Rocky Mountain communities for over 20 years. Our ability to grow has come through our commitment to Rocky Mountain hospitality, a concept which incorporates a casual attitude with our commitment to loyalty, safety, service, and quality food. We'll hope you be our guest at one of our Montana locations soon. All right, I'm Keaton Galogly, joined by Darius Brown III, your point guard, your starting point guard this year. Darius, how we doing?
I'm doing great, doing great. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So you're a SoCal kid. How you settling into Montana and the cold and everything we got going on out here?
It's been really nice. It's not as bad as I would have thought it was, to be honest.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right. If you could give yourself advice about how to handle the cold before you got here, like what would it be? Like what's the key for you coming from SoCal to keep warm out here?
Probably just extra socks.
Yeah.
The socks and probably gloves. The jacket, everything else has been fine. But other than that, it's been nice.
Yeah.
It's been refreshing.
Jeffrey Manning Jr. on the football show, he's a SoCal kid. That was the same thing he said, socks. Got to have warm socks.
Uh-huh.
Well, tell us a little bit about how you got here. So, first of all, Darius is from Cal State Northridge, CSUN. So, down in Southern California, the Big West, same conference as Long Beach State, an opponent this year from Montana State on the road. So, I'm sure you're familiar with that gym down there with the beach. But tell us a little bit about your recruitment, your transferring from CSUN, and how you ended up here at Montana State.
Yeah, well, I did 4 years at Cal State Northridge. I graduated in 4 years, but I got hurt my last year playing, so I was able to get that year back. So I was able to grad transfer with 2 years of remaining eligibility. And going through the recruitment process, just looking everywhere and just seeing what caught eyes and seeing what would be a great fit for me, and everything ended up working out perfectly here. So.
Yeah, tell us a little bit more about that injury, too, because Danny kind of mentioned it, too, and I know it takes a while to kind of get back because you were out for a while. So what was the injury? When did it happen? And what was the rehab process like?
It happened in December of last year, and, well, 2 years ago.
Right now, technically 2021, years. I know.
Yeah, technically 2021. I fractured my left knee, and it put me out for the year. And it was a slow rehabbing process, but it was nice to it was nice. It made me sit back and look at the game a little bit different, and it gave me a different drive to come back, so it was nice.
Yeah, what about the game did you see differently? Like, how did it change your perspective on the game of basketball?
Well, that was my first time really being able to just sit on the bench and watch like college basketball, like live, like from my team. Like my first 3 years, I was on the floor a lot, and all I saw was through film. But that year I got hurt, I was able to just sit back and just watch the whole season. It hurt, but it was nice to see.
Yeah, I mean, because you played 95 games over there, started in almost all of those. So yeah, you were on the floor all the time, and you decided to transfer after that with the two years of eligibility. What were some of the things you were looking for when you did want a new situation?
Just wanted to go where I was needed. Just wanted to find a winning program. I wanted to get out of California also, needed a break.
Yeah.
Went to college 30 minutes from my hometown, so it was time to kind of leave and branch out a little bit. So those were all the kind of check marks I was looking for.
Yeah, so get out of that traffic a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little different over there compared to the traffic we have over here.
Oh, yeah, this isn't traffic.
Yeah, no, you have to drive slow, but only because of the ice.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Driving the same speed here, but way less and not on the highway.
Yeah.
Well, what were your conversations like with the coaching staff? When did Danny reach out? I mean, obviously he has a lot of connections down in Southern California, so how did you start getting hooked up with Montana State?
I got to, my season ended a lot earlier than theirs because they went to the tournament last year, so I got to actually watch the Big Sky Championship last year. Got to watch the whole game and saw how I could fit. Coach Sprinkle told me their point guard was leaving, Xavier Bishop was leaving, and we needed another point guard to come step in and help lead the team to another one. So ended up working like that. I actually went to the game in San Diego, the tournament game.
Yeah,
I went to the game down there. Yeah, it was a nice little 2-hour drive for me. Got to go down there and watch the game, and everything ended up working out great with the coaching staff and everything. So,
yeah, well, we're all happy to have you, no doubt about it. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, definitely. 18 points in this last game against Eastern Washington. I know it was a loss, but we're diving into the Big Sky schedule, and we're gonna have to just kind of roll with the punches as we get into it. But Danny kind of mentioned just about making sure you weren't too unselfish, making sure you kind of look for your shot and you're able to score when you need it. How do you look for that? Like, how do you develop that when you're trying to decide, okay, I need to get some of my guys going versus, hey, I need to knock down some of these clutch three-point buckets at the end of a close game?
Yeah, sometimes it's hard for me because, I really love getting my teammates involved, and sometimes I end up passing up shots for myself to try to get other people involved. But the way that the game unfolded on Saturday was just, for me to get my shot going, and I ended up making a couple shots, so it was nice to keep going and just end up keeping us in the game that way. So
Right. Those first shots or two, especially like those threes you took, those were at the end of the game. That's crunch time. It wasn't like you were putting up a lot of shots early. Like, are you worried about that first shot? Like, what's going through your mind when you're taking that first shot of the game and you haven't really gotten that going yet?
Oh, well, nothing really. I mean, you don't really have time to think about it. It's just if you're open, you have to shoot it. And the moment you start thinking about if you're ready or if you're ready to take that shot, that's when you miss and start getting in your head too much. But the way the game unfolded and the shots opened up for me, and it was just something I had to do. So.
Yeah. I also want to talk about playing with Jabril Bello a little bit. I mean, he's got to be a point guard's dream when you're trying to fire it into the post, yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. What's it like trying to get him going? I mean, what is his skill set? Why is it so much fun playing with him as a point guard?
Well, it's what he can do for himself, but what he does for others too. He draws a lot of attention from the other teams sending double teams, and you double team, somebody's going to be open. So JB does a lot of attention drawing for us, and he helps everybody. All the points that everybody else scores, like JB has a lot to do with a lot of that. So it's really nice to have that on the team.
Yeah, shoot, we saw it in the Idaho game a bunch. A lot of those threes in that game were kind of inside out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he carries a lot of gravity down there, just sucking everybody in, huh?
Yeah, big, strong guy.
Yeah, and what about his finishing ability? I mean, just the moves he makes, some of the different things. Like, you've been all over the country. You were playing for a long time. You're an experienced player. What's unique about his ability to finish inside?
Well, he has good touch around the rim, and he's a great free throw shooter too, and that's really rare amongst bigs.
Yeah, no doubt.
Having nice touch around the paint, being able to shoot free throws because he's getting fouled a lot. So when you're able to have both of those things, it's good, and it really helps. And JB's really good with that.
Turns into championships and MVP awards.
Yes, sir.
Well, I want to keep it on the big men too. Great Osobor, obviously, he's a great player too, growing and getting better and better. What are some of the things about his skill set that stick out to you?
He has great footwork, and he can branch out. He can work in that high post, and he's a great finisher. He's a great passer, really great passer. So he's able to do a lot of things for us when he's a great passer outside the post, and he draws in just as much attention as JB. So, and it really helps the offense flow. And great is a great player. It helps us a lot.
Yeah, no doubt. Very good name. Very good first name.
Yeah.
I mean, have you ever played with like two bigs like that, where you can just kind of interchange them in and out, and they're both so skilled?
No, I have not. And that's been huge. Like Coach Sprinkle mentioned that, when you have two bigs playing at that high level, for 40 minutes where you can sub in, sub out, and there's no drop off. It's really huge, and it's really important for that. And no, I have not had that. So it's been great to have that this year and just feel no drop off and be able to throw it in at any time and trust that they're going to do their jobs.
Yep. Darius Brown III, your point guard this year. Are you the best basketball player out of the Darius Browns?
Oh yeah, for sure. My dad doesn't do that anymore.
No, yeah, you got him now.
Uh-huh.
Awesome. All right, Darius Brown III, appreciate the time. Can't wait to see how it all plays out, and appreciate having you here up from Southern California.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a break, and when we get back, we'll switch over and talk a little women's basketball on Cat Chat. Again, this is Cat Chat from Learfield. Right, we are back on Cat Chat live from Montana's Ribbon Chop House. Universal Athletic has been a proud supporter of Bobcat Athletics for over 45 years. Shop their great selection of Bobcat apparel and accessories for all your game day needs. Shop in-store at their North 7th Avenue location or online at shopmsubobcats.com. All right, we're talking now about some women's basketball here at Montana State. I'm Keaton Gulugly, joined by head coach Tricia Binford. Coach, how we doing?
Doing great. Great to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting settled in, getting into the Big Sky play. Now you got all around the road, but coming back this weekend, which will be nice. And we'll dive a little into this weekend, but do want to dive a little into the non-conference. So I know it was a long schedule of games, but what were some of the things early on in the year as we first were getting started that were some of maybe your bigger question marks that you were looking to get answered as we got into the non-conference season?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is how we're incorporating some of our new faces into a team that had a lot of returners, and it's taken a little bit more time, but at the same time, when we get rolling, we've got a very deep bench and a very explosive bench, so we can score in a lot of different ways, and that's been exciting. And I think the preseason has shown what we're capable of. There are South Dakota State games where we had a great crowd, and our kids found a way to finish a really tough game against a tough opponent, and but also times where we've been exposed on we got to get better in some areas. So good time of year to have those things so we can focus on them now and hope that we're playing our best basketball in March.
What were some of those things you felt like were exposed in that window?
The three ball has been definitely a challenge for us as far as being there on time. We definitely are a team that tries to keep the ball out of the paint, but there's areas that we over support, help, and we got to get better on taking those off the board, especially going into this week with two other teams that shoot the three ball very well and shoot a lot of them. So we're going to have to make sure that we're continuing to get some of those checked off. And then the other area is just becoming a better overall rebounding team. We're losing some possessions there. I think that was an area we knew going into the season that we wanted to focus on. But the other habits are doing some things very well. We traditionally take good care of the basketball. We're forcing a lot of errors, and we want to win those possession battles. And you've got us coming off a really strong victory at Eastern Washington, and we're going to build off that.
Yeah, no doubt. And when you're forcing those turnovers, no doubt one of the people that's a part of that is Darian White, a conference defensive player of the year. Tell us a little how she sets the tone defensively for you.
Well, you definitely don't want to get the rebound and have to see her immediately, and that's what she does. She starts putting pressure on 94 feet, and then you've got to handle that going into the rest of our play. That's going to really defend on the perimeter with another level of ball pressure as we switch a lot of action. We have a lot of length around her. We got a lot of quick athletes, and so we do want to be aggressive on attacking the basketball and forcing some secondary actions for our opponents. And we're going to have a great challenge with Northern Colorado, but a great opportunity in front of us to disrupt this team.
And just a reminder, so Tricia Binford and your squad are back home this weekend, so that is a 7 p.m. tip-off against Northern Colorado on Thursday, and then on Saturday, a 1 p.m. tip-off against Northern Arizona. So always basketball at Worthington Arena. Kind of nice, right? If you're a fan here in Bozeman, you can always watch basketball here.
Absolutely, and nice for us. We've been on the road for, I can't remember last time we were in the Brick, so we missed an opportunity with Cal Poly who had to cancel a game, so our team's going to be ready to be back in the Brick.
Yeah, it's going to be electric. Excited for you all to be able to get back. We are going to talk to Darian White in a little bit, but she's accomplished so much in her career, a lot of accolades, and now going into this fourth year here. How has she evolved, and how is she kind of changing the way she's playing at this level at this point in her career?
Well, I think she's got the trifecta. She's, when she was a freshman, she was a playmaker, distributing with a senior-laid class around her, and got to be a defensive specialist and kind of make for her teammates. Her sophomore year, she had to take on a big scoring load. Junior year, she kind of started getting a little bit of the balance, and when she's shining, she's doing all of the above. I'm like, you looked at her statistical records. I mean, I think it was Maui where she broke that first time in MSU history, one player to have as many points, rebounds, assists, and steals. What is the number?
1,400 plus points, 500 plus rebounds, 300 assists, and 200 steals.
And no other player has ever done that. And I just think that shows her level of consistency and her resilience. And we had a little bit of a chat going into the Eastern about we're going to go through you as your attack mindedness goes, and everybody plays off and feeds off of that. And what I love is the team sees that from her on the defensive end, and then they get after it. And then they see her pushing and attacking on the offensive end, and then they do the same. And right now they're sharing the ball. When we share the ball and move it very well, this team is going to be really exciting, and that always starts with Darian.
You know, it sounds cliche when you talk about a player setting the tone like that, right? But we kind of talked about it with Jabril Bello and the way he sets the tone with the energy. Darian White setting the tone with the energy like that. From a coaching perspective, when one of your best players is willing to dive out on the floor and put that out there, how much does that impact the rest of your team?
I think, everybody says that talent's a portion of it. 90% is mental. I'm like, there's a number there somewhere, but I'm going to go with toughness and fight and competitiveness every day of the week to start everything. And that's at a very high level with this young lady. So I thought that was the difference for us against the Eastern Washington team on Saturday.
Yeah. All right, well, let's talk a little bit about these games. So let's start with Idaho. This was a 72-53 loss, not the start you wanted to have. What was it? I mean, obviously Idaho's a good team, but it didn't really look like you guys were kind of playing your best basketball going into that game.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that we all need to do, looking in the mirror and doing a better job. Obviously, I didn't prepare them the right way to come out fighting on both ends the way we needed to. Our tempo was really flat. We didn't respond when they hit a couple early shots. Our ball pressure was lacking. We'd had a lot of travel in a 2-week stretch, but we're a team that's going to find other ways. And, we got smacked pretty good, and Idaho played well. We didn't. I thought at times we tried to respond well, but we had a chance to turn the page on Friday, and we did. And so we're going to have to continue growing on the road. I think that has been an area we have struggled with. We found a way to show that we can play really well on the road on Saturday, but we're far from being our best selves, and that's exciting with this team. And we're a team that's still very hungry to getting better, and I felt like we got better today.
So how did you respond? Like, what was your point from your point of view as a coach going into that Friday, which of course you still have to travel to get from Idaho to Eastern Washington? You know, what do you do to try to get the team to ramp up and get that start you had against Eastern Washington, where you outscored them 22-4 in the first quarter?
Yeah, we definitely made a change in our starting lineup. You know, we've got so much talent around us. Part of it is just working on the right mixes and those groups that are coming out. And we had struggled in having great starts on a consistent basis. And one of the reasons why we inserted Maddie Jackson and Lexi Deaton, first of all, they're upperclassmen. You know, Jack is a senior for us, Lexi's a junior, and they have a ton of experience. And they've been very consistent at what they do well. And those two are fearless, they're relentless, they play super hard, super aggressive. And we just wanted to have a little bit more of aggressive punch to start and come out of the gate, and we certainly did that day.
And this turned into a 92-84 win. 92 points in 40 minutes when you only hit 2 threes. That's not too shabby on the offensive end.
Yeah, let's not talk about how many we gave up, but we did get 92 points, and I just thought we came out attack-minded, and so much of it is just your mentality going in and being aggressive as a group. We talk a lot about trying to out-team other opponents, and I felt like our ball pressure was really good on the perimeter. We got some steals, we got some forced turnovers. Eastern traditionally is another team. We were neck and neck as far as how many forced turnovers we both create, and I felt like we won that battle. But Eastern responded, had some great halftime adjustments, and we kind of held on, but we made the plays that we needed to down the stretch.
Well, it'd be easy for a team to kind of fold. So, Eastern Washington did come back, tie that game, and take a lead for a moment. It ended up going back and forth. Were you worried at all about the team kind of getting shell-shocked? Because sometimes you give up a lead like that, and teams can fold in that scenario.
There's one thing that coaches have a pulse of your kids, and at no time I don't think it did any of us feel like we were going to lose that game. If we ended up without as many points as our opponent, I think we were going to be satisfied that we competed and battled the right way compared to Thursday, and that's what we wanted to be about. Really we want the outcome to take care of itself. But kids hit big shots, and kids made the plays down the stretch that they needed to. But at no time did anybody, I feel, show that they tightened up or panicked. I thought we just made big plays. Maddie Jackson hit some big shots. We always talk about what she does on the defensive end for us. But Cola Badbear and Lexi Deaton, I thought those two were in the zone with the double teams that they were getting. I heard men's basketball talking about Jabril's, and we're getting a lot of that as well. But the way our players moved the ball and stepped up, made some big plays. Obviously, Darian had a big game for us, leading us in scoring. I just thought it was a really good, balanced effort, and it might have been the first time we had 5 kids in double digits in scoring. We've had a lot of 3s and 4s, but when you get that kind of balance, it's going to be tough to stop you, and we found ways.
Yeah, Darian White, 25 points, 5 assists, no turnovers, and 3 steals in this game. Not too shabby.
Once again, add that to that stat sheet that you talked about.
Just making it harder for everybody else to get to.
Yeah.
And this was also a game in which you reached a new milestone with 300 wins at Montana State. That is an impressive mark to get to. When you think back over your time, especially kind of in your earlier years, what were some of the things that you felt like got you some traction, right? Because your first Big Sky Championship was your 11th year here, right? So that's a long time to build up, and now here you are as one of the top programs in the Big Sky. So remembering some of those earlier seasons, what were some of the hurdles and things you felt like you had to get over to get this program on track and to where it is right now?
Well, first thing you have to do is you got to build a foundation, and I felt like we did that with the first year's class. The wins were hard to come by, but we had kids bought into a vision. And one of those young ladies on my very first team was Scotta Morton, who's been doing she's a director of mental health and mental performance, and we've been doing a lot of team mental performance with her. So that's kind of a nice kind of pay it forward experience with her. But we built a great foundation of what it looks like to be bought in on a vision for each other versus yourself. And then, the challenges were as you continue to increase your talent level and try to take the next steps. In 2 years, we found ourselves finding ways to be a winning record team. And then we found ourselves going from an underdog to maybe a top dog and learning how to handle that mentally. And had the conversation with Cola and Darian a couple nights ago that, you know what, it's hard. It's hard when you're that team that takes that step in your journey, and now you're the one winning some championships, and you have to repeat that. You have to do it over and over again. And it takes a level of responsibility, but boy, is it fun. And I'll take hard every day of the week, but it's taken so many young ladies in that experience, so many coaches along the way to be bought in on a team culture and vision, and it takes a family. My mom and my husband are here tonight, and it takes a community. We have the best community, the best fan base in the nation. We have the best leadership with our president, our athletic director, and we're going to keep giving them everything we got. So Thursday we're going to bring it for you, and we need Bobcat Nation to come out and support this team. This is an exciting team. We've had a roller coaster, but boy, the best is yet to come. We're going to put some more wins on that board.
No doubt. Big Sky plays here. It doesn't matter how you get them. You just got to keep getting W's.
That's right. Got to find ways.
All right. So Northern Colorado coming up on Thursday, 7 o'clock. Give us a couple of quick keys. What are some of the things fans should be looking for in this game?
Well, we've I think seen zone like 5 possessions the entire preseason, and this is a team that on made baskets they're going to pick up into the zone press, and they're going to fall back into a 2-3 zone, and on missed baskets they're going to be man. So this team shoots a lot of threes. They've got a pretty big inside post, but they also have a lot of great shooters. They've got Hannah Smennel from last year. She was an all-conference performer, is playing very well. They got some transfers into the mix, and for us, once again, I think it's about our mentality, how we come out attack-minded, defending the 3 ball a little bit better than what we did last week, rebounding the ball and getting some stops and getting out to run. I feel like our team's starting to really get pretty good in the transition game, and we get so many steals and stops, we've got to convert on those. But then we need to go through the gut of the zone. Our post play is going to have to be really attack-minded. Our guard play is going to have to be very intentional, getting him involved, and we got to be score ready. And excited to see how we are back sleeping in our own beds, but back getting our fans behind us.
All right, looking forward to it. That's Thursday, 7 o'clock against Northern Colorado. All right, we're going to take a break, and when we get back, we're talking with Darian White after this timeout. This is Cat Chat from Learfield. We are back on the Ribbon Chop House Cat Chat. I'm Keaton Galogly, joined by Darian White. We want to remind you that at Montana's Ribbon Chop House, our staff is dedicated to creating extraordinary experiences that raise the bar in each of our communities. Enjoy premium steaks, fresh seafood, and award-winning baby back ribs. We look forward to sharing a little Rocky Mountain hospitality with you. And I got to say, it does smell really good in here. I feel like there's so many different things coming through. I've smelled all the different things coming through. But either way, hello, Darian White. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing quite well. Lovely to have you up here. Congrats on what's been a tremendous career so far. I know there's a lot more, but it's been a heck of a journey for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and I know I'm new, so it's only my first year getting the opportunity to watch you play. But how different of a player do you feel now compared to when you were a freshman?
I'd say I take more of a stance of like a leader now. I think when I came here, I was more focused on just little things, playing defense, focusing on my teammates. Obviously, I'm still doing that, but I've definitely grown more into a leader player and just, I don't even know.
Yeah, grown into a leader. That's not easy to do.
Yeah.
So how did you do that? Like, first of all, when did you realize you needed to take on more of a leadership role?
Just as Coach Ben said, probably my sophomore year. Freshman year, we had a bunch of seniors, so sophomore year I was able to recognize that we needed somebody to step up as a leader, and so I challenged myself and got myself out of a comfortable position and stepped up into that role.
Yeah, so what are some of the things that you would do as a leader, right? Like, so what were some of the things maybe that were the most uncomfortable for you, right? Like, where is your uncomfort zone that you really had to walk straight into?
Probably having those tough conversations.
Like with your teammates?
Yeah. It's never fun. I would say that we're a team, based off of friendship, and we trust each other and love each other, so it's hard to have those tough conversations with your best friends.
Yeah. Jack, can you remember anything specifically? Maybe you don't have to give a specific player if you don't want to call somebody out, but just like what's an example of saying, hey, I need this from you when you're talking to a teammate?
Yeah, I would say I've had a couple tough conversations of saying, that's not the right shot for us right now. I believe in you. I think you're taking great shots during this time or whatever, but a couple times not just being able to talk to them and not diminish any confidence that they have, but just being like, we need a better shot for the team right now.
Right. Yeah. That's hard to do when you're trying to, because it'd be real easy probably to just say, hey, that was wrong.
Yeah.
But instead to try to say, this is what we need, rather than you did this wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Was there anybody that was helpful in you learning how to do that? Like anybody that was able to tell you, hey, this is how you can communicate really effectively with your teammates?
Yeah, I learned a lot my freshman year from the seniors, Coach Ben and the staff, and obviously just learning from the seniors that I had. My freshman year, I was able to learn from them things that I want to continue on and things that I also want to change.
Yeah, well, and here we are with this program reaching great heights and being one of the top of the Big Sky, which is exciting as we get into this season. I do want to go back to the end of last year, winning the Big Sky Championship, the tournament in Boise, in your hometown. What's it like being in your hometown, winning and hoisting a trophy like that?
It's so much fun. We have so many fans and supporters that travel down to Boise to support us, it's so much fun. And then also just having my friends and family there too. It's an experience that not a lot of people get, so it was really cool. Yeah,
is it fun too having it kind of mixed up with the men, so it just feels like you're just like in this basketball mecca?
Yeah, it's cool. Just being able to see them play live too, it's really cool. I really enjoy it. So
what's the relationship between both basketballs? Obviously sharing the same floor, you're right next to each other, the offices are right next to each other. What's the symbiosis? What's it like with the two programs?
It's really cool, just because we've been able to share the same experience. Like I said before, I don't think a lot of people get the experience that we've had together, so being able to win the title just as the men did, it's cool. We hype each other up a lot. So
yeah, that's awesome. I love it. Basketball's basketball. It's just so great when you can cheer for each other. That's cool. I also want to talk a little bit about this year too, going down to Hawaii, having an opportunity to go down to Maui beyond the games, a chance to interact with some of the local school kids there. What was that experience like to just kind of talk to some youngsters who are in a different place and just talk a little basketball?
It was so cool. It was amazing to see. They looked at us like we're celebrities. They seriously thought we were
a
famous.
Celebrity. Okay, if you're not a celebrity, you're at least a local notable.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool to learn about them, what they wanted to do, and even if they didn't play sports, just to motivate them to want to pursue their dreams in school and whatever they wanted to do. So it was a really cool experience.
Yeah, specifically, from a female perspective, talking to some young girls and they can see you and what you're doing. What was that like? What was the reaction of some of the younger girls seeing what you all are doing?
Yeah, they were amazed. I think a couple of the girls were just talking to like Lindsay, and they were like, "How tall are you?" You know, and so we kept telling them like, "You just got to eat your veggies," and but it was really cool. It was cool to see that they're able to be like, well, these girls were able to do it. You know, no matter where you come from, if you just work really hard and put your mind to it, you really can get anything done, whether that's in school or sports-wise. So it was cool to see them, be inspired by us.
What about for you when you were a young girl, when you were first getting into basketball? Who were the role models? Who were the people that maybe showed you that what you're doing now is possible at that time?
I'd probably say my older brother was a huge one for me. He went to play college basketball, and I tried not to pay attention to that a lot. I listened to my dad a lot, and I worked really hard going to practice and stuff. So I really paid attention to it when the time came. But, yeah, I would definitely say my family.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, I want to talk a little more just kind of X's and O's and your style as a point guard, kind of our point guard show today. It kind of happened that way. But I'll ask you the same question I asked Darius about just incorporating your teammates, right? Like Trisha talked about making sure that you were a little more aggressive as a scorer in the Eastern Washington game.
Yeah.
Turned out with 25 points and a win with 92 up on the board. But, how do you settle in and balance getting your shot versus getting your teammates going?
Yeah, I think that's something that I've definitely struggled with, especially this year, is knowing how to balance that. Knowing when to take my shot, but also get other girls open. And so I think what I've learned, especially for the Eastern Washington game, is just staying attack-minded. If it's not there, then, make the right read. And if it is there, then take the shot when you're open.
Yeah, it's got to be kind of hard to do, though, when you're trying to get it all going.
Yeah.
And what about
exactly.
for your shot? I mean, does it ever feel like you put your shot on the back burner and now it just doesn't feel like it's coming out right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you push it off a little bit, you don't focus on it, then it feels forced when it actually, is your time. So that's, like I said, it's definitely been something I've struggled with this year.
Yeah, but hey, came out in this last game, and we're in Big Sky play now, so you got to just keep it going, right?
Yeah, exactly.
When you think back again to that freshman year with all those seniors and just being in kind of a different spot, what was some of the learning curve, right? Like here you are, you're coming from being the Idaho Player of the Year, you're the best player on your team, and now you got to step into this role. Like, what was really fast? What were some of the hurdles you had to get over to just get caught up to the college game speed?
I would say probably a confidence. I didn't really know anything, honestly. I came in a completely new situation. I definitely wasn't expecting to start. So just coming in and trying to take everything play by play, listen to everything that we were getting fed with plays and, the defense and everything that we were doing. So, yeah, I don't know if I answered your question.
No, that's answered the question. Just trying to learn all the plays. I'm sure it just kind of feels like you're drinking out of a fire hose at a certain point as a freshman. What's it like talking to some of the freshmen now that you're trying to impart some of that knowledge? What is some of the piece of advice you give to the younger players as they drink out of their fire hose when they get here?
I would say we try to tell them just to have confidence. We talk a lot about roles and things that we're supposed to do. So we try to really focus on those roles and execute those roles, and then you add more things to your game. So we try to give them, lots of confidence, everything that they need to hear, and just to believe in themselves and to lean on one another.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it's been good. It's fun to pass that on as you get into your senior year. And
exactly, yeah.
Heading into this last semester and getting ready for that final semester this year. When does the classes start up again?
January 16th, I think.
Okay, so a couple more days to just focus on basketball before
Yeah.
we get into it. But what are you studying? What are you getting to graduate in? And what are some of your academic and career goals?
I'm studying community health, and after I graduate, I'm hoping to go back to school. I don't know online or in person yet, but I want to be a postpartum doula. So, yeah, and then I want to also play pro.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that for sure.
Yeah.
You can do them at the same time, especially, hey, now that we got all the virtual stuff,
Yeah.
you can play and do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're pretty good at that now. I'm sure everybody
Yes.
got used to it.
Yes. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, that's exciting coming up on the end here and balancing all that. And that's not an easy major. I mean, how difficult is it balancing that workload with the basketball load?
I would say it definitely took some time to get used to. Time management is definitely the biggest thing for us, and I know the girls have been learning a lot about that too. But once you kind of figure out, how to manage your time with basketball and practice and recovery and stuff, it gets easier.
No doubt. All right, Darian White, appreciate your insights. It's been a lot of fun watching you play, and I know for a lot of fans watching you grow over the years, excited to watch you go through the rest of the year.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Darian White. All right, so that'll wrap things up. Coming up next for Montana State. So the women are at home. So that is a 7 o'clock tip-off on Thursday, and then a 1 o'clock tip-off on Sunday for the women. Men 6 and 2 on Thursday and Saturday. Thanks to head coaches Danny Sprinkle, Tricia Binford. Thank you to our point guards Darius Brown and Darian White, and thank you to John O'Connor as our producer today. This is Keaton Galogly saying so long. We'll talk again on Thursday, and until then, go Cats.